Hey everyone, how's it going? So I did a video about a few hours ago on the new, I guess the first look at the final season, the first two episodes, and in this one I want to focus on just the two photos that we got, two of those three, but I also want to talk about the CRM and just some more stuff in there because I actually, like, the more I've been thinking about it, the fact that I do think these are from episodes 1 or 2, it's going to be from the premiere, the two-part premiere, this is likely going to be CRM related in some sense. There's going to be something there because there are helicopters there, and I wasn't sure if there was. In my last video I said that I wasn't too sure if that was a helicopter or not. It looked like one, but I wasn't sure. After looking into it a lot more, and yeah, I have learned that those are in fact helicopters, and I do think now that this is definitely going to be CRM related, at least Rick related in some sense. And so I want to give my thoughts on these photos and talk about how they can actually bring the CRM to life in the final season, because they're not going to be able to really, because you don't want to confuse the CRM and the Commonwealth. You just can't really do that. But because the future of the Walking Dead franchise is in the movies and the spin-offs and stuff, and the fact that people have to figure out or find out that Rick is alive, you can't just ignore the CRM. So that stuff is somehow going to come up, and there will be little clues here and there that confirm Rick's survival. So anyways, before we go any further, obviously this will contain spoilers for The Walking Dead's, season 10. And if you are new here, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want more Walking Dead content like this. That final season trailer might be coming out this Sunday, and if it is, I definitely will be covering it, so you might want to be subscribed for that. And also, if you want more Walking Dead content, I do have a podcast. This is the Forest Day podcast. The links for it are down below. It's on Spotify as well as on YouTube. I also am looking into putting it on Apple Podcasts or whatever. I don't really know what that is, so right now I'm looking into it. And if I can actually, if I can put it on there, it'll be on there, and it should be on there maybe sometime today or tomorrow or whatnot. So let's talk about these photos here. So the first one here, obviously, this is the one with Lydia, Rosita, Carol, and Maggie all standing together here. On the right, you can see that helicopter, at least the nose of the helicopter, I believe, or the side of it anyways. This isn't a hangar. That is actually confirmed. This isn't a hangar. Obviously, there's helicopters there. This is some type of military base, because if you just look at the walkers, they are actually wearing military uniforms here. It's not CRM related, or it's not a CRM uniform is what I mean to say, but it could still be CRM related. And the first thing that I do want to talk about with this is that I don't think, like, now that I've been thinking about it a lot more, I don't think it's going to be Commonwealth related. And the reason why is because you don't want to confuse the Commonwealth and the CRM, because they both are very similar. The Commonwealth and the CRM, their troops look exactly the same for the most part, except one is in a black suit, one's in a white suit. So you can't really have both of them. It's going to be very confusing. And I don't think that means, first of all, that they're just going to ignore the CRM entirely for this final season. I do think you have to touch on it a little bit. Like, you definitely have to, at least as it relates to Rick Grimes, because I do think they are going to find out clues to Rick's survival in this final season. And the question is how, right? Like, how are they going to find out? Judith knows what happened. Judith knows that Michonne went to go look for Rick because there's a good chance that her dad's alive. We're just kind of waiting for something to happen, whether or not Judith will just blurt out, yes, Rick, my father's alive, or potentially anyways, my mom went to go look for him, or if they're going to learn out from Virgil and etc., like I've talked about in videos in the past. It's most likely going to be neither of them and something unrelated. You know what I mean? Like, we're all expecting that because it's the most obvious, but it's always, from my experience with the show when it comes to big reveals, it's always the unexpected. It's never what we're thinking. And so I think just Daryl finding out clues for himself, if this means this or that, I think that makes a lot of sense. And so in this shot, we do see the helicopter. There's also this other shot where we do see them closer up, and that for sure is a helicopter back there. And so it looks like this hangar hasn't been used in a while. It's most likely going to be Reaper related, but the thing about the Reapers is that, first of all, this base could be an old CRM base. And the Reapers, they're not really that advanced. They have, at least we saw that one guy, and there's definitely going to be more of them. They have a lot of military equipment. They're probably set up somewhere, potentially, I don't know, maybe not. But I don't think they're as organized as we're thinking. I literally think they're just like this random group of, I don't know how many people, there could be a lot of people. They're not going to be major villains or anything like that. It's not going to be anything too crazy. This is a military base I believe Daryl and Carol actually were talking about this at the end of the 6 bonus episodes. They were talking about going to check out a military base, and I think that's exactly what's happening here in this premiere. We have Carol, Maggie, Rosita, Lydia. They're going to check this place out. Daryl, Negan, Gabriel, they could be somewhere else. This could be like a road show, literally an adventure episode. They're checking out this military base, and it's probably going to be Reaper related, but there is likely going to be CRM clues anyways as it pertains to Rick's survival, because I think you need to do that. You need to have some clues as to how Rick survived early on in this season, I would think. At least hint at the characters finding out at some point, because they got to find out in this season. If they don't find out in this season, then what happens, right? And so any clues that they can have, I mean, if you're looking at this shot here, I don't know if it's going to be necessarily in this one, like if you're looking at this shot here with all 4 of them standing here, but like there could be some type of logbook of something on these helicopters. Like the CRM, they are very well organized, but that is the one thing that we need to know about their formation is we need to know more about, I guess, the timeline of this organization, because on World Beyond, it's 10 years later. Like we saw how well organized they are. They have they have a city of 200,000 people packed, and they have electricity, everything, medicine, everything is 100% normal there. But when Rick was taken away, that was 6 to 7 years prior, right? So because that's what the Rick Grimes movies are going to be focusing on is 6 years prior. During the first movie, obviously, they could do a time jump of 6 years. They are most likely going to do that because Michonne has to be in those movies somehow, so they're going to do a time jump. That's already been confirmed. But this could be remnants of that. Like, this location here could be where the CRM first originally started. And because this is closer to Alexandria, there could be, like, hints of maybe something related to Jadis. You know what I mean? There's going to be some stuff here. Like, in this final season, they are definitely not going to ignore the whole Rick Grimes thing. They are going to focus on the Commonwealth, but this final season is going to be, what do we do now for the future? How do all of our characters live happily ever after? How do we end everything? It's going to go out on a bang. And the Commonwealth arc kind of does wrap all of that up as well, because it's like them finding this new place of like 50,000 people, and people have normal jobs. It is very, very safe there. And so just adapting, going back to normal, and that's kind of the story of The Walking Dead. They're going back to a sense of normal, even though Alexandria has been really good, but they keep dealing with the whispers and etc. At the Commonwealth, they don't really deal with a lot, at least that we saw in the comic. And so the story is going to be very dramatic. It's going to be a lot of what do we do now with our future? Like who runs Alexandria? Who runs the Hilltop? Do we even bother rebuilding Hilltop? Do we join the Commonwealth? Are we all just one together, right? Do we all unite? And that's what they're going to focus on. But there's going to be this Rick stuff here. And I think there's actually a possibility that we could learn some stuff in the first episode or two. Because The Walking Dead does that sometimes. They'll put some big moment in like the premiere or in episode 2, or usually the premiere, but this is a 2-parter. So they'll usually put a big moment in the premiere that foreshadows the end of the season. So they could do something here that teases Rick Grimes or teases something towards the end, and then we just learn about it later on. Like in season 10, the satellite came down. That heavily foreshadowed, because Eugene was taking apart that satellite, used all those pieces, and eventually found the Commonwealth. So that was foreshadowing of the future. I imagine this here with the helicopters and stuff is likely foreshadowing of the future as well. The good thing is, and I wrote this from the article, and I will leave the link down below for the article for EW, but Angela Kang says that the final season is going to be back to a usual scope and feel, and they won't be like the pandemic episodes, basically is what I call them, because it does very much feel like that. Like they feel so limiting, but that is great to hear, because obviously those 6 episodes, they were like, I did enjoy them. They were good, but you can feel how limited they were because they had to wear all that protective stuff, you know, and that's not really the end of the world. It's fine, but you could definitely feel how different the show felt. And now that everything is really going back to normal right now, like things are going back up, I am 100% like fully vaccinated now and able to actually go out and do things now. It's kind of, you can feel things starting to go back to normal. And I'm excited for The Walking Dead to actually get back to normal, to watch those episodes and feel like, okay, this is a normal episode. And just by these photos, you can already tell. So I'm going to leave it here. Post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.